These bleak and freezing seasons may mean grace when they are memory. In time to come, when we speak truth, they'll take their place, telling the story of our journey home. Through dark December and stark January, with all its disappointments and the dreary work of February, when even breathing seems to be unwelcome work. But because through all of these we held together, because we shunned the impulse to let go, because we hunkered down through our dark weather and trusted to the soil beneath the snow, slowly, slowly turning a cold key, spring will unlock our hearts and set us free. Slowly, slowly turning a cold key, spring will unlock our hearts and set us free. Spring will unlock our hearts and set us free. Spring will unlock our hearts and set us free. Because we hunkered down. Because we hunkered down. Because we hunkered down.
Hey folks, welcome to the third episode of my conversation with singer-songwriter and author Steve Bell. The song that we were just listening to is a tune of Steve's that's based on a poem by Malcolm Guite. Malcolm is a British poet who's a frequent collaborator and a constant source of inspiration, I would say, for Steve. So the song has good poetics. I'm not saying if Steve wrote it on his own it wouldn't have good poetics, fine poet in his own right, but Malcolm helps. And so the song, like lots of poems, has more than one layer. And the first layer, sort of the obvious one, is that hunkering down can help us to learn lessons in hard times. It can get us through hard times. That's an important idea. It's one I feel like maybe lots of us have been learning in the past year, whether we wanted to or not. What might be easy to miss is the embracing language of the lyric. It's not because I hunkered down, it's because we hunkered down. If you've been following along in these little conversations, you might remember that we left off last time with Steve posing the question right at the end of the episode, what do you know? And he posed that question as a way of sort of summing up the importance of us learning from one another as we journey together, that we all know some things that are true, and we know them truly about the great mysteries, but we know them partially, and we need to learn from one another to fill that out. And this song assumes that same notion, that in this particular case, tough times can be good teachers. They can be the carriers of grace, but especially if we engage them together. So, in this episode, Steve and I are going to pick up the conversation right where we left off last time with some further musings about how we need one another in order to deepen our interpersonal bonds, our attenuation to the world around us, and how it's suffused with good and God, and to deepen our life in God together. Enjoy.
See what do you know? I'm fascinated by the implications of this in the realm we're discussing, Steve, because we don't, I mean, for all that we sometimes would like to know everything ourselves, most of us would be quick to say that's impossible, and I'm happy to look to the knowledge of others if it's knowledge I'm seeking. I'm happy to collaborate or to draw on or mine from the knowledge of others, that the knowing of my head,
Right.
and to kind of go, yes, the kind of it's the Wikipedia experience, right? The more brains, the better on this. It's fascinating to me, though, that when it comes to contemporary spirituality in this part of the world, at least these days, our runaway individualism backs us off from being just as eager to collaborate or co-engage around mystery as we do around knowledge. I'm going to know more about the mystery of God if I am resting in that mystery with others than I will if I do it on my own. And this is one of the powerful things about spiritual community and liturgy is one of the practices that bring us into those kind of spaces, right? It's a shared practice that invites us all to, it's sort of the religious equivalent of going to a concert and all hearing the same song in the same space at the same time. Under the same kind of conditions of human experience. And we both know, you know it uniquely as a singer-songwriter and a touring musician, that a good song, hard to define term, but that a good song is a song that invites us into a shared experience.
Oh gosh,
right? We can be telling a particular story as a songwriter. We can be writing about something oh so specific, but we probably won't write a good song about it unless we also write a song that allows other people to go, that's me.
Right. Yeah.
I'm with you. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think these ancient spiritual practices, coming as they do from people needing to gather together in the presence of the divine and choosing that, can also create those kinds of spaces. They tell a story, but not so that we will know everything about it.
Right.
If it's too specific, it leaves us out.
Yeah, exactly. Or leaves some people out and some people in.
Yeah.
You know, all that. Yeah, like I think, okay, so I think this is related. Years ago, I went to a Lutheran charismatic conference. I was just hearing about these things called these charismatic meetings, so this would be, I think, mid to late 70s. And I went with a friend of mine down to Minneapolis. It was like 18,000 people in an arena. And the music was unbelievable. I'd never heard contemporary Christian music before. And they had lights and they had, smoke machines. They had the whole bit, right? And it was ecstatic. And the singing was huge. And the feeling of the room. And I just, like, something in me just sort of swelled with joy and wonder and mystery. And I came back on a high for about 6 weeks. I was just like, wow. Just love Jesus. I like, if this is what it is, I'm in, right?
Right.
6 months later, I go to Doobie Brothers concert. 16,000 people in an arena. Exactly the same experience. So,
except the whole band at the Doobie show is high as a kite, and maybe not so much.
There might have been some aids to the experience, but I remember being disillusioned by that. At first, saying, okay, there must not have been anything to the first. Except I think what I've come to now is saying no, but maybe what I was like, the high didn't come from us all sort of being right in our spirituality. It actually came from joyous shared experience. That we're meant to gather, we're meant to be together, we're meant to sing, we're meant to kneel together, stand together, cry together, laugh together. Of course, that doesn't obliterate our unique experience or downtimes. I mean, I'm also very much a solitude guy, and the older I get, the more I cherish and make sure that's a deliberate part of my daily time. But of course. And so these things, liturgies, help us do that. But what the liturgies also do is they help us share it not only with me and you in this time, but we're doing it with St. Ambrose and Chrysostom and Teresa of Avila, and that it collapses not only space between you and I here, but also in time. That this is part of the broader we-ness of humanity. So I don't know. You start really thinking about what's going on in a shared liturgy. It's pretty profound.